The courtroom pulsed with a low, almost jubilant energy that didn't match the solemn walls and oak benches. The kind of arrogance that wafted from the defense table wasn't subtle, was triumphant. Three uniformed men, Detective Cole Maddox, Sergeant Ryan Keller, and Officer Travis Lane, lounged in their chairs like they owned the place. Their crisp uniforms looked almost ironic in the face of the charges they'd just managed to sidestep. Their smirks betrayed no trace of shame, no hint of humility. They'd been here before. This was routine. The gavel struck. Case dismissed, the judge announced, and with it came a cheer from the right side of the room, where other officers and sympathizers sat in support of the three men. Cole leaned over and slapped Ryan's back with a grin so wide it nearly cracked his face. "Another witch hunt down the drain," he laughed. "They really thought they had something this time." Ryan chuckled, adjusting his cuff. "They always do. People never learn. We've been untouchable for years." Travis leaned back and crossed his arms smugly. "I'll say it again, I love this damn job." For months, they had been under investigation for racial profiling, using excessive force, coercing false confessions, and planting evidence specifically targeting young black men in low-income neighborhoods. The community had shouted until their voices grew hoarse. But justice never came. Not when those men wore badges and had friends in high places. Witnesses withdrew mysteriously, body cam footage vanished before it reached evidence rooms, and prosecutors who tried to push back were met with political pressure and veiled threats. So they got away with it again. But as they stood to leave the courtroom, something unexpected happened. The double doors at the back of the chamber swung open. The crowd quieted as a tall, sharply dressed black man entered. He was maybe in his late 30s, wearing a perfectly tailored charcoal suit and a badge clipped just visibly at his waist. His eyes scanned the room with calm precision. He walked with purpose, posture straight and chin slightly lifted, not in arrogance, but with an unmistakable command of respect. The judge cleared his throat and signaled for the room's attention. "Before we adjourn today's session," he said, voice steady, "the city has one last announcement to make." A murmur spread through the room. "Effective immediately, the position of Chief of Police has been filled," the judge continued. "Please welcome Chief Andre Calloway." Everything stopped. Cole's smirk disappeared. Ryan stiffened in place. Travis's hands gripped the edge of the table. Andre Calloway, the same man they had once arrested without cause, humiliated, mocked, and wrote off, was now standing in front of them as their superior. Years ago, they dragged him out of his car, slammed his face into the pavement, and claimed he matched a vague, suspect description. It didn't matter that he had identification, that he was polite, that he had no record. Back then, they saw a black man behind the wheel of a luxury sedan and decided that was enough. Now he was their boss. Andre stepped forward and faced them. "Gentlemen," he said coolly, "I look forward to working with you." Cole's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Ryan looked away. Travis stared at the floor. No jokes now. The next morning, the atmosphere inside the precinct was different. Gone was the usual bravado. Gone was the echo of carefree laughter from three men who had walked through life without consequences. The halls felt colder. Every officer they passed nodded respectfully, not at them, but at the man now sitting in the chief's office upstairs. Andre stood in full dress uniform before the department's command staff, his badge polished, his eyes sharp. Behind him, the flag of the city and the emblem of the department served as a reminder. Authority had shifted. "Maddox, Keller, Lane," he called out. The three officers turned slowly toward the sound of their names. No swagger, no chuckles, just silence. Andre nodded toward the front. "Step forward." They obeyed, moving like men on their way to the gallows. Ryan managed a half-hearted smile. "Chief Calloway, it's good to have you here." "Really?" Andre tilted his head slightly. "Is it?" Cole cleared his throat, reaching for formality. "We're ready to serve under your leadership, sir." Andre didn't answer right away. He stepped to a nearby table and placed a large binder on it. The sound of the thick folder landing on the wood echoed in the room. The top read, "Internal Review, Officers M, K, and L." He opened it. Inside were records. Reports, complaints, sworn affidavits, photos of bruised faces, handwritten statements from victims, transcripts from community interviews. Documents that had somehow disappeared during trials had now resurfaced in his hands. Andre didn't look up as he spoke. These are your files. Every complaint, every cover-up, every bit of misconduct. Travis swallowed hard. Chief, listen. No, Andre cut him off. You listen. You've used that badge like a weapon. You've made the streets less safe for the very people you swore to protect. Ryan began to sweat. We were just following orders. Andre snapped his head up. You weren't following the law. You were following racism, corruption, your own lust for control. But that ends today. The rest of the room watched in silence, some nodding with quiet relief, others shifting uncomfortably. As of this moment, Andre continued, you are suspended pending a full internal investigation. You are not to report for duty, carry a firearm, or wear the badge until further notice. Cole's face turned red. Suspended? Andre stepped closer. This department no longer protects criminals in uniform. You three? You're done. The words hit like a sledgehammer. For years, they'd thought they were untouchable. Now, the very system they had corrupted was being used to take them down. The next few days sent shockwaves through the entire city. News outlets reported Chief Calloway's sweeping changes. Body cam policies were rewritten. Community liaisons were hired. Officers with questionable records were placed under review. But the biggest news came when the internal investigation wrapped up. It turned out Andre had been working quietly behind the scenes long before his appointment. His team had recovered the missing footage, tracked down threatened witnesses, and pulled records that had been buried by sympathetic officials. Everything was documented. The final report read like a horror story. Dozens of illegal searches, fabricated police reports, money stolen from lockers, drugs planted in cars, children harassed in their own neighborhoods. And most of it pointed back to Cole Maddox, Ryan Keller, and Travis Lane. The district attorney moved swiftly. 2 weeks after their suspension, all three men were arrested this time by officers who refused to look away. They were taken in handcuffs through the same booking process they had mocked others for enduring. The courtroom was packed on the day of their arraignment. Reporters lined the aisles. Victims sat behind the prosecutor, silent but resolute. Andre Calloway sat beside the district attorney, not as a spectator, as a witness, as the living proof of what could rise from injustice. The charges were read aloud. Cole Maddox, Ryan Keller, Travis Lane, you are charged with abuse of power, obstruction of justice, falsifying police records, unlawful imprisonment, and multiple counts of racial discrimination. Each word felt like a blow. There was no laughter now. No chitbasche. They stood straight, faces pale, eyes darting from the jury to the crowd. How do you plead? The judge asked. Not guilty, Cole said quickly. This is political, Ryan shouted. He's making an example out of us. The prosecutor stood tall. We have hours of video footage, corroborated victim statements, recovered police logs, and chain of custody documentation. These are not accusations. These are facts. The trial moved quickly. The jury didn't need long. 1 hour of deliberation. They returned with a single word, guilty. The courtroom erupted not in chaos, but in emotional release. Some cried. Others clapped. The victims embraced. A mother who had lost her son to a wrongful arrest collapsed into her daughter's arms, whispering thank you. As the bailiffs placed cuffs on their wrists, Travis turned to Andre and hissed, You set us up. Andre didn't flinch. He simply replied, No, you set yourselves up. I just told the truth. Cole growled, Enjoy your time at the top. It won't last. Andre stepped closer, his voice low but certain. It's not about me. It's about the people you ignored. And they're never letting this happen again. The heavy courtroom doors closed behind the 3 disgraced officers, sealing a chapter of impunity and abuse. Outside, crowds gathered not to protest, but to celebrate. Change, it seemed, had finally arrived, and Chief Andre Calloway was just getting started.